Welcome back to the Occult Rejects. We got a returning guest, someone that's been on the show many times and has always brought great information with him and stuff when he covers the topics. And I'm very happy to have him on for this one. I had wanted to cover the Epstein files. Just didn't really know anybody that was really covering them that I thought was worth having on. I did try to have somebody else on, and we never covered the files. We just talked about some other crazy shit instead, and never dropped the episode because it was out there. But we got William Ramsey on, somebody who's a little bit more mentally stable for this topic. And but before we introduce him, let me introduce the other rejects that are with us. Brandon, my man, what is going on, sir? How are you?
I'm doing quite well on this fine Saturn's day. Let's go deep, and let's go deep hard. That's how they say, and that's what she said. Everyone head over to Megas in the Media on YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram. It's going everything myth, magic, and meaning in the world. It's time to battle those postmodern functionalist, mechanistic archons, and there's only one way to do that, and that's the uncover the signs and the symbols and the beauties of the world. So I'd like to thank Nick and everyone else, Ethan, everyone, just let's go hard. Thank you, William. I'm excited to chat with you. Let's do it.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Thank you very much, Brendan. And my man, Ethan Indigo. What is going on, sir? Thank you very much for making this one. Appreciate it. I think he's glitching. And Ethan, your mic is muted. There you go.
Yo, sorry, my thing is falling a second or two behind. Great to be here. Nick, thank you for putting this together. Brandon, great to see you. William, you always do such astounding research, so it's an honor to be here with you. I hope I can come up with a couple neat questions, if at anything. And Ethan Indigo Smith on all the usual social media. I hope people check it out, and I always appreciate communication. So great to be here again.
Yeah, thank you for making it, Ethan, for sure. And William, please, for people, for the new listeners, let them all know who you are if they don't know who you are already.
Yeah, I started out as an author. I published my first book in 2010 about Crowley, and then I was really a guest, and then I kind of flipped around. I worked for Ed Opperman for 3 years as a kind of scheduler, wrangler, so that was cool. And while I was doing that, I became a host, and then my podcast kind of grew, certainly over COVID. And I call myself an investigative journalist now. My podcast is titled William Ramsey Investigates. It's in the top 5% in the world, top 20,000 podcasts in the world. I've got I've actually had 6 books. I have one that's kind of a lesser book. It's called Aleister Crowley, A Visual Study, which actually becomes more important now that AI's come out. So these are actually authentic pictures, historical pictures of Crowley. People check that out. But 6 books, and then I have 5 documentaries on my Patreon. So that's basically it. And I've done a lot of reading about the Epstein files since they've come out. So I definitely think they're very important.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much for coming on again. Like I said, for this topic, I really wanted to have somebody on. I just... it was awesome that it worked out that it was you. Where do you want to go first? I do have 2 things down here. I have the one with the code words and the other one.
You've got DeviantArt code words. This is the one I think that's kind of import to you because I know you're in New York, and this is about the MCC, the Metropolitan Correction Center. A lot of the parts, it's important to realize that a ton of files were dropped in late December, and then the final tranche was dropped January 30th. And in those documents, there are a wide variety of different documents. There are emails, there are intake documents to the FBI, there are internal documents having to do with Epstein's arrest, and there are also civil litigation documents. So there's a bunch of different documents, but this, to start off, are really interesting documents pertaining to what happened at the Metropolitan Correctional Facility when Epstein was put in there on July 8th. Of 2019. He was arrested July 6th at Teterboro Airport, which is where he would fly his private jets into. But I think what we know and what we're told by the media is that he was arrested and then he tried to commit suicide twice. Once was July 23rd, 2019, and then he successfully committed suicide August 10th of 2019. The internal documents, however, tell a much different story. than what the media is telling me. And I'll kind of guide you through here.
Awesome.
This is like the first thing of the DOJ talking about it. One of the interesting things that the Epstein files, as they were released, shows is that they just pinpointed everything on Epstein and the public, and that was it. The Epstein files show it's a network, and he's heavily connected. He's talking to so many people in the public that it's actually shocking to me how many people he was familiar with, Woody Allen and so many celebrities. But this internal document you'll see here, and it's the files are all categorized by this EFTA number. It's the acronym for the Epstein Files Transparency Act. So all you have to do is type in this bottom number on the bottom right into the justice.gov website, and these things will pop up. This one is EFTA 001614494, and it's the internal death investigation for the New York Field Office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, right? A subset of the Department of Justice. It tells a much different story. Their internal documents. I don't think this document's ever been released to the public, not to my knowledge, before the Epstein Act. But you can just scanning through here, you can see how thorough it is. I think it's like 118. This is 118 pages of material, so it's almost like a mini document. I mean, a mini book actually about their take on the events. And either this is faked, which they put a lot of effort into it, or this is the real story of what happened to Epstein in the MCC. And I tend to believe this is more authentic than the story that he tried to commit suicide twice.
Yeah, I even was saying to you before the show, even from my experience with the way, like, I was in the one in the city and then the one in Brooklyn. Because when you're in the feds, you get sometimes bounced around, or they have you in different places until you get your destination or sentenced. So I've been through both of them, and like, yo, I mean, they really don't give you much of a way to kill yourself. Like, I'm being for real. Like, down to like, if you want to write a letter, your pen doesn't even have that plastic on it. It's like literally just a little ink thing in the middle and the ball at the end. Like, they didn't even want to give you a chance to stab yourself in the neck. Like, there is no way you're going to fucking knock yourself off of one of those things unless you're like banging your head against the wall. At that point, you'll probably knock yourself out before you kill yourself. I don't buy it.
It's interesting. Situation. Yeah, no, it's interesting you say that, Nick, is because in these documents, and I'll see if I can find them, they show him on suicide watch, and somebody's making a statement every 30 minutes.
Yeah, so they are up their ass.
Yeah, so when
comfortable for you either, like, they're kind of like assholes to him.
It's interesting because they have him on suicide watch, and then all of a sudden they take him off. So why do they take him off of suicide watch? They also show that the most important camera that covers his cell, it wasn't working. It stopped working on July 29th, which is in and of itself suspicious as heck. They also show that the camera that is working and they show to the public is kind of deceptive. It's not actually showing the actual door of Jeffrey Epstein's cell. It's showing a different door, and I'll show that on here. It's very obvious. This document right here is what they released, the FBI, after he was arrested. And if you go down to the bottom, I'll highlight it, but there's a link here. It takes you to a video file, and that video file is not the actual door of Jeff Epstein's cell. It takes you to a different shot, and I'll show you very clearly in these documents what the DOJ did, either through intentional obfuscation or just negligence. They didn't tell the public what it was, because the layout of the two-tiered kind of system within the special housing unit is a subset of the MCC. So
the shooting is completely away from everything else, and it's on its own.
Exactly. He's like the number one guy in the jail, right? So like, he's in a special housing unit within this giant, like, I think it's 12-story building or something. And he's in a second tier. You have to go up the stairs, and there's supposed to be a girl or person there watching him, literally within a stone's throw of his cell. And the interesting thing is, these files show that the night that he died, from 12, the recordings that were supposed to be done at midnight, 3 and 5 were never done. The rounds were never done. So the people, and The girl who was supposed to be doing it was brought up on charges, and they're in these files. I'll show them to you. So this stuff never made it out into the public. He gets into jail on the 8th. You can see right here on 7/10. He's assigned this guy, Nicholas Tartaglione. And we'll show pictures of him. The pictures of him out of jail are terrifying. The guy is roided to the max. Like, he looks gigantic. Like, he's a huge, gigantic guy. He also had just killed 4 people. Like, he was being charged with the murder of 4 people. What he had done, what he was charged of, and he's convicted within the last couple of years, is that he had gone, it was like an hour or 2 north of downtown NYC. He was at a bar, and he was dealing coke, and he felt like he got burned, I think is the story. And he lured a guy to the bar and killed him. And then the guy's 3 friends showed up, and he killed all 3 of them too. And then he took their bodies and buried them on his property in New York, and they found him. So he was arrested and put in jail, and that tried and then found guilty. He wasn't guilty at this point, but they put him in there. They're questioning Epstein almost every day about his well-being. On 7/11, you can see here, chief psychologist saw Epstein for a psychological observation contact. He denied suicidality and did not appear to be in any distress at this time. So he says he's not suicidal. Then on 7/23, he's with Tartaglione. He suddenly gets brought in. Epstein told officer that Tartaglione's cellmate had tried to kill him and had been harassing him. Tartaglione claimed to have been asleep. So Tartaglione's story is that I was just asleep and I popped up and there was a rope around his neck. Like, this is barely believable for me. Like, I was sleeping and then I woke up. So Epstein's claiming that this thing is that he's trying to kill him. Then he's on suicide watch. So Epstein initiated on suicide from 7/23, and they're constantly asking him, "Are you suicidal?" Then he's taken off of suicide watch the next day. So they're believing he's suicidal, but then they take him off of the watch.
See, that's even another thing. I think if you get put on suicide watch inside there, it has to be for at least 72 hours, regardless. So, like, even like people know, like, this is the whole thing. If you want to pull that shit to think you're going to get some special treatment, you're actually going to be in a shitty situation because you lied it for a fucking few days. So it's something to think about before you really want to push this stuff off.
These are all very sketchy, Nick. This is like crazy stuff. On 7/24, the day after, Epstein denied suicidality and stated, "I have no interest in killing myself, and it would be crazy to take my life," even though he was depressed and unhappy about his current legal situation. So and they ask him again, on 7/25, he denied suicidality and said he was too vested in my case to fight it. "I have a life and I want to go back to living my life." He wants to get out of jail. Epstein then on 7/26, so 3 days after the event, Epstein denied suicidal ideation, intention, or plan and referred to himself as a coward. And "I'm Jewish," and said he was not someone who liked pain and would ever attempt to harm himself. So these have to either be forged or this is the real story. But there's no evidence that this is forged, It's just like, okay.
Guys, like, I'm too much of a bitch to hurt myself. No.
And he clearly is not athletic. So, I mean, he maybe rode around on a jet ski or something, but you don't see him ever playing sports other than ping pong. And
wasn't there this element where he kind of wanted to like extend his life and procreate and put forth his genetic, there's no way he wanted to kill himself with that all in mind, right?
He seems to have had a cryobank account, and he definitely wanted to perpetuate his genes, his genetic. He was kind of like a Bond villain in a lot of ways. 7/27. Cannot remember what happened in SHU. He didn't know what happened in the special housing unit. He denied suicidal ideation, said, "I'm a coward." So he says it again. He would remain on psych observation. At 7/28, denied suicidal ideation. 7/29, remained in the hospital 1 week where it is safe. So he felt threatened. He wanted to stay in the hospital.
Oh, this is even another thing too. Like, if you're in the shoe for like doing something stupid, or you're in the shoe for like they think you're going to kill yourself, you're even going to have special different treatment. than even the people in there for other things. Like you'll even get different clothes. You get like a thing where it looks like a turtle shell. Like there's no way you can hang yourself with that. It's like some big Velcro fucking thing you get stuck wearing. You look silly as shit.
Right. Wait till they show you what he supposedly hung himself with and his injuries. I'm thinking about it. This is the kicker, is on August 1st, 2019, staff reported that when Epstein came back from court, the USM asked him to sign a form that noted he had suicidal tendencies. So he gets back from court and they shove a form in his face. He was seen for a suicide risk assessment. Epstein seemed surprised that there was a form noting suicidal tendencies. He denied again that he's not suicidal. He denied any suicidal tendencies, and suicide watch was not indicated.
Yeah, at this point, I'd be like, yo, what are you trying to fucking tell me?
They're trying to establish a record.
Yeah, I'd be like, yo,
that's what they're doing.
Fuck.
Sign this document, Jeff. You just came back here. Sign this.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no.
Like,
He's saying he's not suicidal over and over and over again. So then they take him out. Something happens. And then 8:10, he's found dead early in the morning. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning. That's a Saturday too, by the way. So it's kind of weird.
Discrepancies on the release time too of supposedly him dying.
I don't know, but it gets sketchier. Like it's very strange.
Like I think the internal email was like, I don't know, it was like there's something weird about like when he first got.
I think it was called it something like. Here's the thing is that you see this 12, 3, and 6. This turned out to be all forged and fraudulent. These like things they just found. Oh, and I'll show you exactly what happened later. But these official counts of inmates present were all forged. They found that out in a thing. I messed up. She's not to blame. We messed up. We didn't do any rounds. So they forged the rounds and then they admitted to it right away. Strangely, according to this record, right?
Is that the one who got like $5,000 deposited into our bank account?
Right. 5,000 deposit, had funds around, very strange behavior. So Epstein's time of death coded at 7:36, reported by ER physician. Epstein body released to the office chief medical examiner. Then he's taken to the city morgue. Then there's an autopsy next day. This diagram is very important because it shows this two-tiered system within the SHU. Just like you said, Nick, this is set apart from the regular MCC. This is special housing. So it's it's a jail within a jail almost. And what you have to do to get to Epstein's cell is there's this central area and you have to walk up a staircase and then go by the guard station, which you can see there, right? Can you see my mouse moving?
Yeah, yeah. It's funny you said a jail inside of a jail, because I remember when I was in the shoe, somebody was like, yo, you know you fucked up when you're like literally in prison for people in prison. It's like, oh, this is fucked.
Right. It's like a prison within prison. Do you see where they indicate where Jeff's cell is? And the pictures will verify this. That cell is number 220. It's literally right across from the guard station. That's not very far. It's probably, 9 feet, 9 yards or so, so very close. But what's very important is to check out these camera angles according to this, because what the government showed us and the camera angle is not the angle towards Jeff's cell. The one at the very top right here, if you see my mouse, that's the one they found out stopped working on 7/29. So they didn't have an accurate film camera that functioned for the most important person in the jail at that time, that everybody knew and was all over the media, right? Everybody was talking about Epstein. If you remember that back in the day, it's 7 years ago.
Yeah.
But so this is like, all these diagrams are very important. And this shows where you have to go up to the SHU, which you have to go up these stairs and go through another set of gates. That's to the right here. That's the special housing unit. So you have to go up to the tier. This is an actual depiction of Epstein's cell. So he's behind another set of gates, but it's down a long corridor. Well, a corridor that seems to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things. That camera at the left here did not work. So this is his so-called suicide that they called a suicide. This is Jeff Epstein's body. You can see around his neck, he has a pretty intense, there he is right there. Pretty intense, like burn around his neck, like somebody got in there. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And then they tagged him. He's dead on 8/10. They did work on him. This on his left shoulder, he had an old tattoo. He's either just getting, maybe it was a tattoo over a, like some kind of birthmark or something, but this is also verified that this was a mark that he had. And this is the inside of his cell. It's like, what's up with all these freaking rags and everything in here? And then that's supposedly how he hung himself. This is
those are the blankets that they give you inside the shoe. They're like fucking thin as shit.
This is supposedly how he hung himself.
They're so thin you can literally, because I've done it just to be a dick, flushed it down the toilet bowl. Yeah. Yeah, at one point, like me and my cellmate were just like anything that would go down the toilet bowl just to cost the feds money. We're like, fuck you.
Right.
According
According to the autopsy, assuming these are all valid and they have the name of the person, Dr. Kristen Roman, you can see it right here if you see my highlight. His hyoid bone was broken and he had both of his ligaments in his, what do they call it? Larynx were broken. So this is very consistent, not with strangulation, but like manual strangulation, like it was done.
Yeah, that's like even something I want to like mention, like from looking at the jail cell, like maybe it's not like when you're in there, maybe it's a little bit different, but like the way those bunk beds are made, like even if you tied that shit around your neck and tried to hang yourself, like I don't really think that's going to work. And second of all, it's not going to look like that mark he has on his neck. I just don't think you can pull that off in there. I don't. Like that looks like a lot of pressure and tension, and for a while, I don't think you're going to get that from hanging yourself off of a bunk bed. Like I just don't.
I don't think so either.
It's going to be sufficient enough and all that. It just, to me, it just doesn't make sense. Like you're barely going to be hanging yourself if you're like, if part of your body is on the, like, it's what I'm trying to get at. There isn't even enough room to really even hang yourself correctly. You'd have to force it. It would almost like you're doing some weird BTK shit where you're trying to choke yourself on a doorknob, jerking off. Like it would be like, it's like you're trying to choke yourself, honestly, to even hang yourself. You're not going to like, how you'd have to be doing that forever to get that mark on your neck.
Yeah. The story doesn't wash. But this is the internal document right here. Investigation review of Federal Bureau of Prisons Custody Care Supervision of Jeff Epstein, June 2023. Investigations Division. And I don't think this ever came public, but it's 118 pages, like I mentioned earlier. But it's an interesting read. I could probably do a show on it. But they break everything down in time, dates, times. I mean, but also these diagrams are very important because they show the angles of the cameras. So like the angle of the cameras and how the special housing unit is laid out. The jail within the jail. And what they showed to the public of the camera angle is this angle that I'll show you. This is the real angle of Jeff's cell. If this was, you can see right here on the bottom left, his cell is right where those kind of clothes are, those rags or whatever. It's not that door, but a door before it. And that camera at the end was not working. And that was the crime scene. That's what the L-tier entry door looked like. And this is his door, and that's him right there. I mean, this photograph is of Jeff. Right? So that's how you designate how somebody's in there, 220. That's a picture of the inside of his cell. That's what it looked like, empty cell. This is the door to get into the SHU. But what they did,
an average human when they're standing up, sorry to interrupt you, it's like your head's already going to be like level with the bunk guy. Like you're not going to be able to really fucking hang yourself too well like that if you're already that close to the top. You know what I'm getting at here? Like it's really hard to do that.
This is what they said he hung himself with.
I don't think, come on.
Piece of orange cloth.
No way. Especially like when you know like what that's made out of. It's like, really? Like that shit is like fucking thin as fuck. It's like it's worse than like one of those hospital blankets that they give you. It's like pointless.
Thomas explained when he first entered Epstein's cell, he had an orange string presumably from a sheet or shirt around his neck. So he made a string. Epstein was suspended from the top bunk in a near-seated position with his buttocks 1 to 1.5 inch off the floor and his legs extended straight on the floor. It just doesn't wash. Something about this.
I think you'd have too much of your body weight still supporting you on the ground somehow, to an extent as well. I mean, even if you're trying to lay sideways, I mean, it's just I don't get it. I don't buy it. Knowing how it is in those things.
He wasn't alone in the L tier. There was 2 inmates right across him whose names I haven't been able to ascertain yet, and somebody else there. So if they're not doing the rounds, all you would have to do to ace Epstein is open those doors together and let somebody go in and do the job, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like that's all you would really have to do. This is the news. This is what they're suggesting is the news, Nick. They don't even state that this is it.
The inmates won't even know what's going on either. Nobody was really going to be able to see anything. You know what I'm saying?
In a jail within the jail, guys. He's not in general pop at all. They probably would beat him up because he's a pedophile too. So that's always.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Unless they sent him to Fort Dix, then he'll do all right over there. There's too many of them.
But these diagrams are very important because they show the cameras. This is what they showed the public is this angle. This is not the correct angle. This is to outside of the his cell. This is what they showed the public is figure 6'4".
Well, his door was also 220, right? It's not even in the right number.
Right. This is what they told the public was it. There's 10 hours of video shooting just to the center of the special housing unit. Why did the government show that? They're lying. They're obfuscating or they're bungling.
They're just showing you the CO's bubble, and that's it.
It's the doorway to the L tier. That's not the right angle. So all these, they're showing it. This is figure 6'7". Location of non-recording camera in L tier. It's the one for Epstein's cell. You literally have the most important guy in the country or most important guy jailed person, and they don't have a functioning camera. Warden who was not scheduled to work at the institution later. FBI forensic analysis. FBI sees all hard drives. Analysis Quanta. They went to Quantico. Technician reviewed DVR2 controller logs and found that there had previously been a catastrophic disk failure and no recordings would have been available after July 29th, 2019. So, it may have been working, but it's not recording. Can you imagine this?
Yo, straight up, I'll be honest with you. When I was in the feds, when I was in Fort Dix, there was some cameras that are up on the wall that I was like, it looked so fucking beat up and broken in glass. It's just like, is that even on? Like, does that even work?
Is anybody paying attention? What's the morale and stuff?
Honestly, I'll tell you what, the shit that I saw that went on, they can't be, because it's unreal. The fucking wild shit that goes on in prison, believe it or not. It's wild.
So these are the pictures of the first event, which was called the Jeff Epstein suicide, right? They don't even verify it in the files. They just say possible event. They don't say suicide. I mean, they're like using wishy-washy words. But it happened at 2 a.m. and he looks like he's asleep, like he's been drugged. Like, why doesn't he pop up? He looks drugged. They took pictures of him, front, back, the whole bit. And that's Tartaglione. That's what he looks like. So that's his.
Your point about drugs, wasn't he into these rare psychotropics that had like a memory loss the
scopolamine? Yeah, scopolamine. Right. I have it in the files that I sent.
Who knows how that.
Yeah, it's called in Colombia, they call it angel's breath, and it basically gives you amnesia for like 2 days. And they give it to dudes who are like, it happens a lot with prostitutes. The prostitutes will take their johns and drug them and then steal all their money and then dump them out. And the guy wakes up, he doesn't know where he is. Wow. There's Tartaglione. He's got the kind of telltale signs of former weightlifting and roid use, I guess. Huge neck muscles or whatever. They're together. He says, this is Epstein talking. He says he's not threatened here. And he says, when Tartaglione returned, he was upset. Epstein stated he attempted to talk to Tartaglione, and Tartaglione called him a pedophile. Epstein also stated he knew Tartaglione was upset. He let him cool off. Epstein stated he does not have any issues with Tartaglione, and he feels safe. So he's telling him he's safe. This is 7:31. This is 2 days after. Well, later on, when we get down to some of this other stuff, he's like, guy tried to kill me. Like, he's telling two different stories. He stated he slept on the mattress. He got up, couldn't remember. He sat and stood on Epstein. Epstein was sitting on the floor, leaning to the side with his eyes open, but wasn't responding. He stated the last time he saw him, he was snoring really loud.
Oh, sleeping good.
And when asked about the allegations against his cellmate, he stated he was told if he heard him, staff wouldn't care. So why is this redacted? So what they're saying is that Tartaglione was told if he hurt Epstein, staff would not care. So this is like goes on with this kind of like, the encouraging Tartaglione on. The ambulatory. He does not want to talk about the events leading to the marks on his neck. Cannot explain the marks on his neck. Responded, I don't know. This is after the, quote, suicide attempt. He doesn't look in its distress or pain. I think they drugged him and tried to kill him, and he didn't do it. He bungled the job. Because Epstein's saying he doesn't know what the hell's going on. You can read this for yourself. Like, it's all these reports there, and this is like timestamp reports of how much information is going back to the top. It just shows how like onerous these timestamps are. There's like 600 pages of it. And we go back to like this whole story. There's more pictures.
The funny thing about it though is like if you're in prison and you're like, I think someone's trying to hurt me, they'll put you in the shoe for protection. It's like he's already in there. Like where else can you go now? Like just a different cellmate. Like you're already where they would put you for protection.
I asked inmate Epstein what happened prior to staff's arrival. He stated approximately when he got up to get a drink of water, he remembered walking back to his bunk. He didn't respond when calling out. He only remembered hearing himself making a noise like snoring. He didn't remember something. So let's see. This thing is way too long. But anyway, this document is really something else. It goes in later if I could get this thing to function, but it goes later into how he told a different story that Tartaglione was trying to kill him. Now, I can't see if I can get into it later. While observing inmate Epstein, he sat up on the bed and telling this is different. So it's D. Clark. It's Lieutenant Anderson, right? He says this is a different story than what Epstein's saying. While observing inmate Epstein up on bed and telling me that he thinks his bunkie, Tartaglione, tried to kill him. Inmate Epstein also stated that his bunkie also tried to extort money from him and stated if he didn't pay him, he would beat him up. He stated it's been going on for a week. So once he gets somebody from the outside of the shoe, he starts telling him a different story. I asked inmate if he told staff about this, and he told me no, that he'd only told his lawyer. So he's not telling the staff at the jail. He went on to say this bunkie told him that if he beat him up because of his charges, the officers would not report it. And because of this, he was not comfortable telling the officers about the prolonged threats and alleged attempts to extort him. I immediately reported this to the lieutenant. None of this made it out to the public, to my knowledge. This is also important. These are documents, and you can just check out these numbers. They're right there. They're in the documents. EFTA 000-52885. G Operations Lieutenant.
One thing I will have to say, I mean, I guess maybe it'll depends on the relationship or the intelligence of the dude that was locked up with him, but he does seem to tell him a little bit more than I think he should be. Like, who comes out and admits all that? Like, it is a little weird to even be telling him all that.
He's afraid. He doesn't want to tell the housing staff because he knows that people, if they kill him, they don't care. So he's got to find somebody who he can kind of let know. This is like another. I'm inside of the cell. I noticed Jay Epstein was snoring on the floor of his cell, appeared to be asleep. We made several verbal commands to him to wake up and to get him to his feet, but they were all unsuccessful. This is consistent with somebody being drugged or something going on. Like he doesn't pop up. He's not fully conscious. After said attempts, Lieutenant Anderson asked for a stretcher to retrieve and safely remove him out of his cell. Now on the stretcher safely out of 9 South Special Housing Unit into the awaiting elevator. So they have all these records of like what happened on 7/23. I called out to inmate Epstein and observed him flicker his eyes and continue snoring. His neck was red with no abrasions. I observed no further injuries. An attempt was made to get the inmate to stand on his own with negative result. He couldn't stand up. The inmate was placed in hand restraints and staff was directed to retrieve the stretcher. I mean, it's just, he doesn't even know because he's either drugged or like knocked out. Here's all the like times of people coming in and out. But I think later on in this document, you can see the elements of like, here's his hanging suicide. They go in all his medications, methylprednisone, insulin, docusate sodium. I don't even know what that is. He had some other guy, Efrain Reyes, was supposedly there. There's no record of him, so I don't even know what the heck is going on with that. That's Efrain Reyes. I couldn't find out evidence of protesting. This girl who's supposed to be watching him, her name was Tova Noel, and they were thinking about prosecuting her. She had an indictment.
I thought, and then nothing happened after that, right?
I don't think anything happened. And then you mentioned the $5,000, a total of 12 deposits. This is according to Megan Kelly, not me. Total of 12 deposits have been received, culminating in the largest one, $5,011 days before he died. What's really weird, she didn't start working in the special housing until July 7th, weeks before his death.
Oh, man, almost like she was put there for that shit. Oh.
It's not outside of the realm of possibility, guys. They have so much See, here's the 30-minute round policies. This document shows on the right they're supposed to make rounds. The cell, this is actual depiction of the cell. Events of August 9th, Tova Noel. So this is about her. So if you go through this, she's lying. All these counts are fictitious. In reliance on that falsified count slip at approximately 12:49, Control Center cleared the 12 a.m. count. So she's falsifying these accounts. Why? That's what they're saying, not me. This is from their documents. Tova Noel and Michael Thomas, the defendants, so this is the potential thing, were additionally responsible for conducting the 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. institutional counts at the SHU, the Special Housing Unit. As confirmed by video from the MCC's internal video surveillance system, Noel and Thomas did not complete either the 3 a.m. or the 5 a.m. counts. Noel and Thomas nonetheless completed and signed count slips for both counts that falsely stated they had completed the 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. institutional counts.
Just another thing I want to mention too, real quick. A lot of times when they do this shit, when I was in Fort Dix, like in the feds, you're allowed to have emails, and I didn't. They threw me in the shoe for mentioning people that I was in prison with in emails. Said it was a breach of security. I just got fucked with, but I ended up being stuck in there for a little bit. So I have experience inside there. When they come around to do those checks, 90% of the time you're getting woken up because they're actually shining a flashlight through the fucking window into your face to see you even move, to make sure you're still alive. So like them not doing this, I mean, that's, that they fucked up for sure.
They got all the
It's really hard to get a lot of sleep, actually, because they're always waking you up every time they go around to make sure you're there. It's fucking annoying, actually.
My whole point is like there's tons of documents about what happened in the MSU. and you can read through them at your leisure. This is a 1,500-page document. It's crazy long. Anyway, that's my MCC. A lot different stuff going on there. He says his guy's trying to kill him. He won't tell the guys at the shoe because they don't think he's listening, but he's told his attorney supposedly, and these guys who came in to investigate suicide. Can't make it up, man.
You want me to pull up the other
the code words? Yeah, let's go
through. Yeah. Brandon, anything? You guys got anything you want to, whatever? No, okay. Sure.
Epstein code words. These
well,
are
I guess I do. Thinking about it, something fascinating that I find about these documents, even if it's not fascinating directly about the documents themselves, is how before all this, we all know that he was being held previously in an actual police department where he got to do whatever the fuck he wanted to do for such a long time. And then he was re-indicted back in 2018 or whatever it was, the last time before his death. So it's really fascinating that out of nowhere he became scared. For what reason? I have no fucking idea, because he felt like he was untouchable, but now out of nowhere he was in prison. And then he was thinking like he's just going to try to talk to people about how afraid he was in the cell, in the shoe, within the shoe. I don't know. It's just something odd about the whole thing. And then all of a sudden he, commits suicide. Obviously he was killed, but that's not even obvious to me. It's not obvious that he's actually dead. It's not obvious that any of this in this even document, this is so easily like falsifiable, so it's like, I'm not saying anything about you, William, but it's so fascinating that how like all these documents are coming out and yet we're still missing like fucking 300,000 different pages. And so Trump's only released half of these documents because obviously he's in them along with all of his friends. I just listened to Lutnick being interviewed by Congress right now, and he's like, I will only talk to the special House committee. She's like, no, we want to know now. And so I find all of this so suspicious that it's like, what do any of these documents any mean? And it's so boring that the average muggle doesn't want to fucking look at these things, because it's like, what is it like if you can help me, William, understand for myself and the audience why any of these documents matter, I guess is my question. That'd be great.
There's a lot of these files that were never made it to the public. So all these documents, the civil litigation files, the emails, the information that was coming into the FBI was never investigated.
Yeah.
And never publicly investigated. So even the files I show you were all internal. I don't think they were ever proffered or presented to the public so that people could figure it out.
Right.
And I kind of stated at the intro of our talk, the public thing is that Epstein tried to commit suicide twice, but those documents, why would somebody fake something that's totally different story that made it look like somebody was trying to kill him and set up a fake story about him wanting to be suicidal when he's saying, I'm not suicidal.
Yeah.
So like they would continue the cover up. So they would just like write some fake documents and say, yeah, he was suicidal. He was wrecked. We had a psychological eval that said he was trying to kill himself any way possible, choke on the food here.
Yeah,
but that's not the case. So it doesn't make sense that they would actually fake these. If they were faking the documents, they would just say suicide. No, Tartaglione was trying to kill him. He's saying he's trying to kill him. And then he turns up dead on a thing where they're thinking about prosecuting the person whose job it is to watch him and keep notes. And they're saying that that's not happening.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And I'm going to bring this up from my angle of kind of what I hit it from my channel, is the idea is that we are always being told different things in our media, like shows like Blacklist and all these different that kind of like whodunits when there's a deep state and there's some special crime bosses, and then you get all this interlinking. We're starting to realize, as we all know, as the curtains fall on all of this stuff on the clown show that's going on, is that they're like things are usually stranger than we can ever imagine. And so it's fascinating that the mafia crime bosses and the three-lettered agencies integration with the governments is that it's just even though the names are different, they follow different rules, they all use each other interrelated. And so the government uses the mafia uses people like Epstein, because Epstein wasn't just, it's like everyone wants to state that he was working for the three-lettered agencies. And it's like, no, like the three-letter agency were working for Epstein and the people that he is working for, these oligarchical fucking parasitic class. And so it's so fascinating to me that it's like, how easy is it to put on a mask as your Epstein going into this prison, and we don't even know that the initial person is Epstein himself? And I think these are questions that need to be answered, because it's like, we all know that CIA has masks that they can put on that make you look exactly like Biden, for instance. He's like a rumbling, bumbling like robot walking around, but really they just put a mask on the robot and he looks exactly like one of Elon's fucking cyborgs. And so I'm halfway joking with that. That's a joke. But the idea is that, like, we know that things are stranger than they ever assume them to be. And so documents like this, I think, are really important, because I think it's really important we have documentation. But why I'm here is to ask these questions about what is fiction and what is reality and what is in between these things. And I'm just here to tell the audience that it's like, read these things for yourself, just like you should go out and read Plato, read Aristotle, read Homer, read these fucking documents so you can start reading. And the idea is that if you have a symbolic logic background, which most people don't, but you can learn logic, you can read these things and you can start seeing the nonsense from what is real. And most of the time, it's a 1,500 page document. You'll get fucking 5 pages that actually mean something.
But I will say, when it comes to stuff, it's even kind of reasons why I might have stopped myself. Perfect example. I have William on for it because I do think it's interesting, but for me, it's not worth my time to go into.
Yeah, I agree.
But I am very much kind of starting to question a lot of stuff that is being declassified to us. Because even with certain occultists, not to get into which ones, but if it wasn't for the CIA or the Fed supposedly handing us paperwork, their names wouldn't be repeated every fucking day. And as an occultist, regardless if it's good news or bad news, as long as you're active in everybody's fucking head, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
So I think some of this stuff, I hate to say it, may sound crazy, may not be true, but it's getting you to talk about them all the fucking time.
Yeah, I agree.
So I do question what with Epstein. My hands are up in the air with if I even think he's dead or not. But I do think there is value in looking in these things, because I think in some extent there is probably actually occult shit being leaked to an extent.
Oh yeah.
I think there might be some value, but I understand where you're coming from. But I do think I do want to know what's in these things as well, though.
Yeah, no, and I do too. And we've been listening, and I think this is all fascinating. And it's just nice to kind of take a second and kind of take a breath and remember the occulted nature of our reality and how important it is to know that our black ops departments are 30 years ahead of what we have right now with our iPhones and our computers, 15 to 30 years. It's like there are 15 to 16 to 17 scientists have died over the last year, talking about deep technology that things like Epstein were working on with these three-letter agencies across the world. And so it's really fascinating that these documents, it's if he was in prison, because we always have to steel man the argument. And so it's I'm steel manning this. This is real. These documents are real. Epstein was in prison and he supposedly committed suicide. Okay. Obviously he didn't commit suicide, because that fucking the Michelangelo bandana that he wrapped himself around and then hung himself supposedly, that's no one can even jerk off to that. So it's you know what I mean? It's you can't even asphyxiate yourself to allow that to even do anything to you. And so it's so fat, you could just rip that, let alone a 200-pound man in a small prison cell. So
that's what I'm getting at. It almost doesn't make sense for that.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
I wanted to add something too that actually is very much exoteric occultation. I've heard in New York City prison system, and this understandably was a federal building within Manhattan, but in the New York City prison system, the corrections officers will put forth the idea that they don't really want to report that there was a fight. And there's this phrase hold it down, which in kind of, I used to understand it as like being tough, holding it down. In the prison system of New York, it's like, you're going to hold it down. You're not going to say you just got beat up, because then I'll have to file forms and there'll be more problems type of thing. So it's almost like an implicit kind of inclination to occult or hide what's going on by the corrections facilities. Like as it says, he was afraid they wouldn't do anything.
I would even say just the whole scenario, even if you want to start looking at it like in some crazy way, it's very Kabbalistically, and I think even occult. Even when you want to start looking at the colors that are involved with the prison stuff and who he's attached to. I mean, the guy, the only thing you're going to get in that situation is orange clothes and orange blankets, and you're attached to the orange man, who in my opinion is like the Hode or Tahuti. Like this, not to get, it would be a lot. And then when he's, you know, in Suicide Watch, he's got green on, which would be Netzach, which would be right next to Hode as you go up the tree to fucking die anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the next position being the Tippereth, the rising, and the dying. Yeah.
And then I would even see the jail cell as benign anyway.
Right. Yeah. No, that's fascinating.
If you have to get really deep into it, but I see a lot of Kabbalistic shit that even make you think that death is the fucking end result anyway.
Yeah, it physically is. The idea is it's supposed to happen non-physically, so you can actually continue to live your life a higher man. But if you're inverted like this, you have to be given up for the next sacrifice. Shout out Dr. Heather Lynch. She'll be on the Occult Rejects this upcoming week, and she's definitely somebody we need to talk about all this stuff, because she's coming out with spit and fire about the Epstein ball, all these connections with Trump. So, yeah.
All right, sorry, William.
Sorry.
It's important to contextualize these documents. Like, why are they here? How did it happen? And it's important as Podesta was, and the whole spirit cooking was back in 2016.
I will even say this just real quick too, William. Sorry to interrupt you. Some of these things, like you're showing how like things didn't get released and this and that. I even think that could be a sign of a cover up, and there's paperwork didn't get done correctly, and like things just got fucked up. So I would even think that's just showing there's an issue regardless. I just want to throw that in there, like trying to, you know,
just to kind of riff on your theme, these files are occulted. Look at the redactions. There's redactions.
So much. So, exactly. Yeah.
It's black too. It's like, why didn't you do it in a different color? Yeah. And also, they stated when the files were released, they stated that 2.3 million files were kept from the public because they contain death, torture, and child porn.
Yeah.
So we only have 3.3 million, and they're leaving the public to go through it all and try to ascertain facts from ones that aren't redacted. I have a document that's 100 pages that's pure redacted. Like, it must be just whopper. Like, they actually released something that was total redacted.
Yeah, and as Kash Patel is coming out to us telling us that there's like Epstein didn't work with anybody. There's nobody else on those lists. It's like, how do you have so much shit and then nobody else is on that list? That's fucking wild. The straight up lies.
It's incredible lies, and
gets me all fired up. Let's go.
It's part of the cover. That's part of the cover. This is just one file. We just went over this MCC file, but it's like this is one of many files that they're keeping the truth. We don't know. I don't know. Pull up this file for me, will you, Nick, please? It's just the one that's all blank. This is it. It's just purely redacted.
Wait, remove this one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's 388 pages. This is just a screenshot.
That's actually a page? That's fucking bullshit. That's so crazy.
You can go to this EFTA number and type it in. It's 388 pages of pure redaction.
What's the point? You know, what's the point of coming out with
They're
that?
putting
Like,
it in your face. They're
gave it to
cultists.
us. Yeah, I know, right?
Trump is a magician, man. He's putting it in your face. Here's the thing. This is like, I think that you can really analogize what happened in 2024 with 2016. If you remember, the Podesta emails are what led to Pizzagate, right?
Yes.
And so, and Marina Abramovich and the people got freaked out by the spirit cooking. If leading up to this, when all these guys were going out, whether it was Vance, Trump, these other people, everybody wanted to know what was in the Epstein files, in the Epstein list. They kept saying the list. We're the list of the perpetrators. they didn't know what was in the totality of the files. And every time Trump would say, yeah, I'm interested in releasing it and we're not going to have any new wars, right? And so then he gets into office, he elects Bondi, which should have been a huge tell to everybody because she was the AG in Florida when Epstein's in Florida and nothing happens. So she gets brought into DC and she kept saying, the files are on my desk. The files are on my desk. We're working on the files. And if you remember on February 27th, 2015, they had that huge, it wasn't a huge, but they had this influencer event with the white binders and said the most transparent thing. That was supposed to allay suspicion and be a fake release, right? Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, all the right wingers got these things. These conservative LARPers got all that shit. Yeah,
yeah. And so, but it was just trash. It was stuff that I had already seen back from 2018 that was in Giuffre and Maxwell's files. It wasn't anything new. And during that time, the FBI in March, right after that, they started redacting the files. They weren't commanded to. They were undergoing, the Trump administration was going through its own redaction process independently of anything else. And there was directives specifically saying take out celebrities, presidents, and perpetrators. So they were going to release it all. And once that started happening and Bondi started delaying, if you remember this, it was all going through 2025. She's on Fox every day. I'm working on it. It's on my desk. There's no way it's on her desk. It's like 18 terabytes of stuff. One of the huge tells from all these documents is all the redactions. They had hundreds of people redacting stuff they didn't tell the public about. They've redacted so much stuff. It's incredible. Then the left figures out, well, there must be something in there if they're taking all this time. Let's like lever this things out. Let's figure out a way to get this out. And Massey's on board, if you remember. He was like a betrayer from the right. And all of the, like, one of the things that's really incredible is the right takes itself as like the most Christian and moralist of all these people, and they're covering up rape and child trafficking. And some of the stuff did come out. I mean, we can go through the civil litigation files. They will blow your mind. But so then this passes Congress, and they're literally, if they don't follow litigation, like the legislation, they're breaking the law. And it said to bring them out in like a month. And so then they were forced to release it. And then they let her go. Then they fired Bondi. Her work is done. And they covered everything up. They're not going to release anything else to the public unless Congress passes another bill, which I won't hold my breath. But that's the arc of how these documents came to the public. Podesta was leaked. Podesta's emails were taken from the DNC, and then that kid died whose name I can't remember. Seth Rich.
Yeah, Seth Rich.
So that's the kind of arc. So they bounced around. They're very, very, very important documents. There's so much information here. And the stuff that wasn't redacted is because the people who are doing the redactions don't know these code words. And that's the whole thing. So they think they're literally talking about jerky and pizza and grape soda, but they're talking like freaking mobsters about stuff. That's a good one right there. You can go back. This one is like, this is a document that came to Berman. This woman's asking great questions. They actually kept her name unredacted. But like, what could be buried on that island? Drugs, money, young girls, babies, staff that intended to reveal Epstein's secrets. Need to go through Epstein's staff, past and present. What a nightmare, feeding dead bodies of girls and their babies to sharks that swim around on this island. And she's right. Epstein was not only a molester, pervert, and child molester. He was also a rapist, pimp, pander, torturer, and maybe a murderer of his captives and their babies. So I'd say, I mean, you want to say like, oh, this is questionable. This is what's in these files. That's what people are talking about. That's how serious it is.
And one of the more topical, even though it's severe, things that have been maybe revealed, suggested at least, is that like soft and easy case that he got in Florida, and the the easy time that he had to serve was actually reduced in its accusation because there were probably, and said to be anyway, much younger girls than the teenagers that they try to put forth. Where, oh, it was only this, you know, but it was probably younger girls included too in that whole arena.
There's infants disappeared. There's like women who said my baby's incubated. There's statements of women at Zorro Ranch who said they were experimented on. So there's allegations of experimentation, infants being stolen, babies being trafficked, and rape of children under prepubescent children. There's one civil litigation files that talks about a 5-year-old child being gang raped at the mansion, and there's pictures of it. So acts of unspeakable depravity are in these files that were unredacted for some reason. I don't even know. There's allegations of kids being thrown to alligators, a lot of really dark, hunting black people at night, sniping black people, mass trafficking. Courtney Love's dad said that stuff that was going on at Zorro Ranch, it's 100 times worse. Zorro Ranch, if you look at the topography of the layout, it's literally a mansion in the middle of nowhere. It's literally not surrounded. There's nothing within like 15 miles in circumference.
Yeah, I've seen somebody that recently has been going over there, or they went over there and like were just showing like what it looked like and how like security is still heavily active. Like you are not getting on that property.
Things have been dug up before the investigation restarted by New Mexico. The New Mexico legislature thought things were serious enough that they passed legislation that granted a new investigative team $2 million to look in the events of Zorro Ranch. They're trafficking people from Mexico and Juarez. And if you look into the Juarez femicide things, it's not that far from where the Zorro Hell Ranch was. Zorro Hell Ranch is like east of Albuquerque, south of Santa Fe. It's maybe like 300 miles from the border. Jeffrey Epstein, according to these documents, was in Juarez. He was in Mexico. And he had like operators working for him, special forces people he's associated with. They're talking about special forces, ex-FBI agents working for him. So yeah, these are important documents.
It boggles the mind, the connections that he had to royalty and intelligence. And
I think a lot of that was from Maxwell's father, Ghislaine Maxwell's.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, it's almost interesting that how we think Epstein was the main leader when who knows, you know, especially with Ghislaine's father, Maxwell, being so deeply integrated into Mossad, CIA, and everything like that. So it's like we always want to think the man is leading the woman, but really, who knows?
We know a lot. We know a lot about Robert Maxwell. And in these files he's mentioned. And Epstein specifically writes his life was ended. Not verbatim, but he says he seemed to know that Robert Maxwell was offed. And Maxwell had ties with all intelligence. He had ties with KGB, MI6, Mossad, and possibly the U.S. He's really a master spy, and he plays them all off against each other.
Well, then isn't there? No, I was just gonna say, isn't there like the Terramar project with Ghislaine Maxwell, which is a nonprofit project found and everything that they're doing in the ocean, which then ties to our disclosure, you know, with like what are these things coming out of the ocean, and is that where our interdimensional or extraterrestrial UAPs are coming from? And so there's all these weird overlapping. Anyway, Ethan, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no. Thank you. I was just going to add something that probably a lot of people know, that Ghislaine's father was also involved with the publishing of our scholastic textbooks for many generations, I believe at least.
Pergamum Press, the place where Satan sits.
Yes, thank you, Jugs. Yeah, we actually did, I think, a 2-part series on that. Pretty impressive, yeah. Like, and the scientific community, like, he controlled a lot of like what got published, and that's pretty dangerous.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about an interesting occult kind of tie? Is that Ghislaine Maxwell's sister is married to one of Jack Parsons' cohorts in the Suicide Squad. Have you ever heard that?
No.
No.
So there were 3 guys in the Suicide Squad. It was Parsons, Foreman, and another guy whose name I can't remember right now. Molina was his name. And they got the nickname because they were blowing stuff up in the Arroyo in Pasadena. And this third guy's son married Maxwell's sister. And she's associated with the Santa Fe Institute, which is kind of like, I would call it the Esalen of New Mexico.
Okay, so Christine Maxwell, one of Ghislaine Maxwell's twin sisters, is married to Roger Molina, an astrophysicist whose father, Frank Molina, was a member of the Suicide Squad. A pioneering rocket scientist in the 1930s at Caltech. His group was nicknamed the Suicide Squad because the earlier experimental rockets tested were volatile and dangerous. And then bring it to the fiction base of the Suicide Squad for DC, which is the high level villains that they're then used to go out and do the bidding of the government and the Black Ops department. And so fascinating how we take from our reality into fiction and back and forth. It's like, what's influencing what here?
It's not many degrees of separation from Parsons to the Maxwells. That's just it. One of the interesting things about the Santa Fe Institute is they have a huge obelisk. They have a huge monolith as part of their kind of like statuary on their site. Not a lot of elite people and stuff like that. It's pretty interesting. That's a whole nother story in itself. But Epstein would make donations to the Santa Fe Institute. So he was just always at the cutting edge of kind of like intellectual ferment in the US, much like Robert Maxwell. Very strange. Anyway, I don't know. My slides don't seem to be working on here.
Let me change it over here. Yeah, I'll go to the next one.
I can't even read this. Let's see. Oh, this is the one about like rape by George Bush 1, type of ritualistic sacrifice.
Oh, geez.
Cut with a scimitar but left no scarring. On the audio, witness babies being dismembered, their intestines removed, and individuals eating the feces from those intestines.
Wow.
This is NYPD. This is where it's coming from. This is after his death. Interview of purported Epstein victim.
Who?
Yeah, that's the FBI. This is the one where they're possibly hunting black people. Oh, come back.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was like nothing.
Snipe hunt is over. Moon crickets and field bag. Field bag is a specific term to hunting. Like a field bag is that burlap bag. That remember when we did that show about Lisk, about Huerman? He put his victims in a burlap bag like he was hunting them, and that's like a reference to that right there. So are they hunting black people? I don't know. This is an explanation with snipes and hunting and the quail hunting and things like that.
You covered those scientists that were been dropping dead.
I've been looking into it,
I saw somebody yesterday. It's just like something that made me think about this in its own sense, like kind of what Brandon was talking about earlier. Just sorry to go off on it. Just thought about it now. I was watching last night. Somebody was like, I watched like maybe 20 minutes of it, not the whole show, where they were getting into like what's up with all this shit, and they showed how like one of these people somehow tied back to one of the Challenger people. And like, depending on what type of like conspiracy theorist you might be, for me, there's enough proof out there to where I do question if those people are dead, because you can kind of find them again online still doing
Oh yeah. Like professors and school teachers, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, this?
I've heard of that.
Because if the Challenger wasn't real, is any of these people even really dead?
Yeah, go watch yourself, Nick. You're gonna Alex Jones yourself here.
John Podesta even ties in with them as well.
Oh yeah,
his wife is like friends with like somebody who's like in the middle of all this, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Let alone the Chester Bennington / Podesta connections on if that's the son to father thing. And
Let me find out John Podesta is just like the screenwriter for all this fucking bullshit.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Tilken study brings up the death of David Wilcock too, who is kind of tangentially maybe related to the scientists. People are speculating. I don't know if you guys looked into. He was asking if you looked into that one.
Well, I mean, he owed the IRS millions of dollars, let alone was scammed by some corporation that it was taking. Yeah, millions of dollars to the IRS, they're saying. And has been scammed by some place that it was taking also millions of dollars from him. And he already, I would state, is more mentally ill. And Gaia TV just knows how to bring in the mentally ill individuals and basically Scientology them. And so they take weak-minded individuals, just kind of push them out there because, I mean, he's been crazy from the beginning. Even in my younger hippie days, in my younger 20s, I was all like, that guy, Edgar Cayce reincarnation. Can we talk about this?
The Cayce.
Yeah, how do you extend yourself with over millions of dollars? That's just
it's crazy. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, when you mentioned this before, I was like, wow, I have not heard that word in a long time. Yeah. What? So does Moon Cricket come up in the papers?
Yeah, I just showed it. It's in that email.
Yeah.
Go back. That's it. One more forward.
I've actually never heard that term before. I don't know if that's my ignorance or...
It's a dated term. It's an old racist term.
Yeah, that's old.
It's like from the South, is my understanding.
It's like, what was that? Is that moon? It's like, why can we just leave the crickets alone? I mean, like, why do we make it into a racist with the crickets?
With anything.
It's like, leave them
anyway.
Leave the crickets out of my house, but like, they're outside for a reason.
Oh, no, they are. No, that's a grasshopper.
That's the theme of these code words. They're using code words a lot.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah, it's crazy that they're even saying that phrase at all, right? It's like,
and that's in the emails that you just pulled up, right?
Yeah, he mentioned it before, and I was like, "Fuck, I haven't heard that in a while."
That's fucking crazy.
I was like, I wonder if they're using it for that reason.
Here's Cream Cheese Baby. Somebody explain this to me. This is from Epstein to somebody. They redacted his name. Why would you redact it if they're just talking about cream cheese, right?
Yeah.
Like, who cares? I just want to have a bagel with cream cheese. There are millions of babies, very little good vegetable cream cheese.
What the fuck? Yeah, I've seen some stuff.
The obsession with the beef jerky and the cream cheese, it would seem, is so alarming. It's definitely something.
Go back to that earlier email, will you, please, Nick? Read the one before that. Before he sent it. Oh no, sorry. Go the email on the chain. LOL. I don't know if cream cheese and baby are on the same level. It's okay. There is still enough time today. Trying to schedule a priming for 5:30. Fuel explosion 9:45 p.m. We'll bring a new engine startup video. Fuel explosion.
What? Oh, yo.
I was just thinking how interesting it is. They want to make us believe that like we're overpopulated, even though if you travel across the United States, there's just hundreds of miles of nothing going on at all times. And hear me out. This is just me talking, but it's this idea of like, look at they're in Santa Fe, right? Nevada, or in New Mexico. There's nothing for, it's so fascinating that like the kind of experiments that you can do when no one is around, because of you own massive amounts of swatch. Like Bill Gates owns hundreds of thousands of acres around Denver and all these places. And so you can just do crazy shit when no one is noticing, especially if you're the one running the satellites and the panopticonic overwatch of all things. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, this is code words. I don't have any idea. So
this one is weird.
The next one, yeah. This is somebody, Johnny Grass, explaining it. It's coagulated milk inside of livestock stomachs and intestines is how cheese was discovered. He's saying what they're talking about eating coagulated mother's milk from the intestines of freshly killed infants. I guess, I don't know.
Jesus.
No, I heard that. That's just diabolical.
Should 2GAEE. Should I drop off your cheese around 3 or leave at 3:01 for someone to pick up? You have to remember, Jeff is rich. He has private chefs. He never cooks. There's never pictures of him cooking. He gets everything handed to him, breakfast and everything. He had this thing where he ate a bran muffin every morning. He had very specific things. You have to have the bran muffin. These are the things. You put it in the microwave for 25 minutes. You serve it to me. And they have rules for the house too, which we could go through, which are really annoying. But you serve it to me with this spray on butter, and that's what I eat every morning at 7 a.m. So once he gives you crap about cheese.
Not to like hop on it, but like some of the weird shit in here, like you wonder, like, is that even like really happening, or is that whatever? I covered, like, I think it was 2 weeks ago. It wasn't a detailed thing because I didn't really want to get into it and make it too shocking because it was just disgusting anyway. But there was this guy who was he was a dude who did puppets on like some sort of like Christian type of PBS type thing, and he I don't remember exactly how eventually they found him or caught him, but he ended up getting caught with like a fuck ton of child pornography, and I think even shit that like tied to the church. But like the most disturbing shit that they found on this guy is that they found him in these Yahoo chat groups, and like he was having detailed. People want, you can go back to Sword and Scale episode 20. They go into it very detailed. Fucking, I couldn't get through it the first time, believe it or not. They go into very detailed these conversations that he is having with people about how they obtain kids, exactly how they cook them, what parts of the best. It is fucking disgusting. Crazy. So
why did they do it? Why did they do it?
Religious fucking sick freak. You know what I'm saying? This isn't even somebody who's got money and can pull this shit off whenever they want to. I mean, they were even going into like, oh yeah, you just go to trailer parks, and they're like, the lady was even saying, oh, these white trash parents aren't even watching their kids; they're just hanging out in a fucking play panel by themselves, and you just grab the motherfucker and leave. I was like, what the fuck?
That's awful.
One of them was a female that he was talking to, and she was the vicious fucking one out of all of them. And I'm like, yo, like, don't you have any motherly instinct at all? Like, you were a sick fucking woman. Oh, disgusting, dude. It was insane. If people want to go listen to that shit, it's fucking wild. So it happens. That's what I'm getting at. It may sound sick, but I mean, even regular motherfuckers who aren't tied, at the top of government do that sick shit.
One of the interesting thing about Epstein, then it's in the files, they said that he didn't have any guilt. He had a no guilt reflex. So just, the criminality of all different types, sex trafficking, financial fraud, drug trafficking, killing people, whatever. He just didn't care. It didn't affect him.
I mean, and most likely these people have some kind of mental hormonal missing part in their brain nervous system towards how they relate to reality, because that's pure psychopathy.
Oh, you're like a defect. I hate to say it. You're a fucking
super
defect.
Yes, you're a defect.
Yeah, the human population. Yeah. You're fucking born wrong.
Yeah, I agree. And then it goes to saying, it just goes to the idea of how then important it is, right? If we're I just want, just for everyone out there and even us here, is like why it's so important to get your house in order, learn how to become the hero of your own adventure, because until you actually confront the shadow within and the monster that sits at your doorstep, and I'm talking about the one right here and right here, you can't understand what's going out in the world. And it is, even though Jordan Peterson went off the handles, something that he always said was the idea is that men who have gotten their own inner monster in control are the ones who keep the ones that are out of control in check. And so it's like, that's why the masculine is the actual self-actualized masculine who knows how to wield a sword and shield are very important in our society, which is then why there's also all these other psyops to break down the masculine in our world. And so I'm just always trying to push that message of like, get your fucking mind in order, learn how to wield a sword, and learn how to control the monster within, because that's true courage.
I'm glad you said that because I was going to point out a little tidbit of the Bannon Epstein interview where Bannon asks him, "What do you think about people comparing you to Satan?" and or something like that, and he's like actually offended, partly probably just because of him having no empathy, and partly because he's like, "Hey, I thought you were setting me up for an interview where I look good there, Bannon." But he says, "Oh, you're smart and you devious and you're manipulative," and he had never even considered that he was had any shadow aspect to him, which is crazy.
Bannon's an interesting character.
Yeah, I'm gonna end up doing a whole stream on it because I've just got done reading Teitelbaum. There's this gentleman by the name of Benjamin Teitelbaum, and he takes it a little far for me in the political realms, but it's War for Eternity. This book is fantastic. And it really breaks down the underlying inverted occultism / esotericism that is moving through all of these circles. So to rewatch that Bannon Epstein 12-hour interview and to know that these are two individuals who know more than the tomfoolery that you think Steve Bannon is, it's a bunch of smoke and mirrors.
Oh, Steve Bannon's rallied for Epstein at one point, basically.
Oh yeah.
Fucking very weird. Yeah.
But you got to think of all the chess games that are going on, though. It's so interesting.
Being that I have affinity for cannabis, I looked up cannabis in the Epstein files, and it was mentioned, but only in relation to buying cannabis stocks. At one point, it was a really hot thing to get into, and to that. He and his acquaintance or business partners or peers were super into investing into weaponry, right? And these type of business, you can tell how war is prolonged. The Eternity War was that the title?
Oh yeah, War for Eternity. Yep, War for Eternity. Yep, nice.
There's more cheese stuff here too, huh? Melted.
Sure is. This is one of the weirdest and strangest ones because they're redacted, but he seems to be watching something. And it says, "Torture. I am still waiting and watching the melted cheese drip smiley face."
I mean, it's just purely disgusting. I mean, we get it. Okay, let's move on. Okay.
What's that? It's too small. Sorry, William. That's the one thing that is that you can't blow it up.
What time is the hamburger do over?
Oh, jeez.
Are they having hamburgers again? I'd like to go on your hamburger tour with Hanson. Maybe they really are going on hamburger tours.
In-N-Out Burger.
But why don't they say where they're going?
That's a bad joke. That's a bad joke. In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah, well,
Luke called to see
big conspiracies about that place, almost like pizza.
Of course, as there should be. Yeah. Fuck that place.
Yeah, right, with that fucking name in it.
Yeah, like a hamburger.
Go to In-N-Out Burger. Yeah, we'll stop at Come and Go after.
Yeah. Oh man.
Fuck.
Then come at Ping Pong and wrap it all up.
Yeah,
the muffin one's real. I talked about the muffins earlier. Yeah.
Joe, did I ever tell you? Oh yeah, me and somebody from the show went to that place.
The Comic Ping Pong?
Yeah.
Did you eat there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It was fucking weird, dude. Yeah. One weird thing I will say about it is that a lot of the photos online doesn't match what the inside of the place looked like, except for the bathroom. It was pretty correct. I was thrown off because when I walked in there, I was like, "This isn't what it looks. This is not what it looks."
Of course,
like.
we can't trust.
This is weird. Yeah, but there was a weirdness about the whole bar and area where they performed the music. It was a weird place.
Huh.
Yo, me and this kid JJ, it was the funniest fucking thing, and I was like, yo, this couldn't have happened anywhere else. We parked on it's on a strip of a bunch of stores. We parked on the side street, and we're walking and making the turn to start heading to the place now. And there's this I don't know, cross-dresser on one of those motorized fucking scooters, the ones that you stand on. And it's standing there with its pocketbook, and it pulls out it's guess a number from 1 to 3. It just looks at me and JJ as we're walking up, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm just looking at it, I'm like, and we're starting to walk the corner, across the corner. I was like, 2. I just said something just to see what the fuck it'd say.
Yeah, of
And
course.
it goes to pull out like a calendar and starts to ask something else. And JJ's like, "Oh, we ain't got time for that." And we just started walking, but I was, and then he like throws a tiff and gets on his like little scooter and goes. And I was like, of course we ran into that going to Comet ping pong. Like it was just so fucking unreal.
It's kind of like you're on acid walking around, and it's like a magnetization for the fucking crazy people. That's what those like. It's like sectors of hell on Earth. Fucking wild.
Yeah, all right, sorry. Muffin Man, the Muffin Man. Now we got muffins.
Yeah, I already talked about that. He actually did have a muffin recipe.
Oh God!
Can you go to the next one? Yeah, that was it. 3 extra large eggs, 3 cups dark brown sugar, olive oil, bran, wheat flour, flaxseed.
What the fuck is digestive bran? I know
This
what bran
the
is.
one, yeah.
That's
The
what.
next one's a tell. You mean a soft, radiating glow? You mean radiating a soft glow with the look of bliss and excitement? Yeah, that's the pizza.
Yeah, you know what happens when I eat pizza? I fucking get bloated and I feel like shit. You know, that's not like any pizza I've had.
Yeah. Especially when you start getting older.
Send
Yeah.
to Bobby.
Yeah, and who sends emails like this? You know what I mean? My emails are strictly business.
May I bring in your slice of pizza to you? That may be right. I don't know.
Respectfully, Daphne.
Yeah, from Scooby-Doo.
Daphne Wallace.
Massage was another one of his code words. He really didn't mean massage. It meant sexual abuse.
Well, that's what it sounds like from some of the stories.
Thanks, Leslie. The chicken matter touches my heart. Dick Cavett. Here's his code words.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's from Dissident Media.
Oh, fuck. Walnut.
How do we deal with the frozen tuna? Like he's really interested in that. I have your cereal, Rothschild. You're super rich. You have a investment fund of $160 billion. I got your cereal. You at 10.
Right. Yeah. These guys, it's like these guys aren't going to their fucking pantry and just pouring themselves a bowl of cornflakes.
Yeah. That's what I do with my super rich elite friends who eat caviar, beluga caviar by the gallon.
Yeah.
Got your cereal.
This is weird. Waterboarding with ice cream.
Very much so. Making my execution plan and trying to have something for you tomorrow. Bones, plastics, blood, guts, all bound by science that I understand. Partners, plan, revenue, jobs, gangsters. Okay.
No, you know who I saw? He was contacting he was asking him to do work with him. I thought it was actually really interesting. Rupert Sheldrake. He popped up in the yeah. He didn't go, like, it wasn't showing that he was like going anywhere with the dude, like going to his island, but it was showing that he was having conversations with the guy that he wanted him to work on something at MIT with him.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, that makes a lot of sense, and not because I think Rupert Sheldrake's a pedo, but because of his work on morphogenic fields. I mean, it is the cutting edge of.
You agree? Yeah, no, I know where you.
It's the cutting edge of science and consciousness. If people out there don't know morphogenic fields and Rupert Sheldrake's work, please go out there. He got banned by TED Talk because he had the top 10 most banned scientific rules.
I watched that shit.
It was fascinating and brilliant, and I'm sold on it. He did a whole video series about the telepathic nature of not just animals but humans as well, and the interconnectedness with morphogenic fields. It's beautiful.
Well, no, I thought it made sense even from an occult angle. I was like, I would use the fucking guy too if I wanted to do some weird shit.
Of course. I mean, I want to interview him for my channel, and I'm not fucking anybody. You know what I mean?
So many times, dude, to get that guy on. I've tried so many times.
Okay, we're gonna try again.
Yeah. I told him I was going to. I was like, dude, every 6 months, I'm just going to keep asking until you get tired. I told
Good,
him.
good.
All right, next one. Peter called Guy and asked him if they killed the deers, and Guy said yes.
Get the dead deers. Why does he pluralize too? That's the other thing. Crash
That's
Little C.
Little C
Crash
stuck on the rocks. Sea toad here. So what is that supposed to be, a deer that crashed on the that's dead on the, like, what?
Yeah, I don't know.
Frozen food.
Gear is frozen food. Mark Lloyd is finance. Lyndon Lee is many companies. Hyatt is sex slave. It's just like
among
salad,
the discussion. Yeah, right. Among the discussion of beef jerky was frozen beef jerky references many times, and it's like, what? You don't freeze real beef jerky, right?
Yeah, I don't think you have to, really. No. Yeah, I would think the frozen thing, well, I don't want to get too into it, but I'm assuming it might be like frozen body parts. I don't know.
Cereal. Go to the next one. I think there's
Oreo
ice cream.
I heard something about Oreo coming up in his shit or something. I heard about that. People thought that was weird. That's interesting. Oreo, which is black and white, is slide number 33. I like that there, William. That worked out well.
Memo to mature, health-minded vampires. You might want to consider eliminating your treats to victims under age 30. JEE was right all along.
What?
This is better than a Chinese cookie. Let's go for pizza and grape soda again. No one else can understand.
Go no. That weird shit.
This is Francis Derby. That's the chef at Cannibal. Nick, I got to run. I got to wrap it up.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, I think Magus had to get going.
We can
too.
do another show. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
this is like 50, 60 hours of Epstein material. There's so much.
Well, I
from
would even
different
say
angles.
the show at the beginning I thought was actually really interesting, to tell you the truth. So that was cool. Even though technically it wasn't the files everybody's thinking of. That shit was with the prison is actually interesting.
Mhm.
And I think, unfortunately, due to my experience, I think it's also good to know like what you're kind of actually dealing with, like when you're in that situation. It's very different than I think the public perceives it to be.
100%
Yeah, for
agree.
sure.
100% agree.
I mean, nobody can imagine what it's like unless you've been in it. It's very and even though it's not a good representation, is like people who think they know what mushrooms or LSD is like, and they talk about it, and you don't know until you know, and then there's different degrees of knowing when you've done it as well. You know what I mean? It's like
Or understanding or perception of it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But thank you all very much. Before we wrap it up, Brandon, remind everybody where they can find you again, sir, please.
Great. Thank you, Nick. This was a great conversation. It was so fantastic to meet you, William. I've heard about you, obviously, and all your work. So it was good to be on a stream with you and go through these types of things because the people got to know. And if they don't know, they don't know. And they might as well come to the Occult Rejects to find out. So it's just one of those things. Everyone head over to Magus in the Media, where we break down all things myth, magic, and meaning in the world. Subscribe, like, and share. Got work coming out all the time. Interviews, video essays, live streams. Next live stream, I'm going to probably do one tomorrow on my own. Who knows what it's going to be about, but it's going to be about something. Nice. Monday night with Jin. Ethan and I are going to be breaking down again the Tao Tai Chi in action, because amongst the craziness of the world, there's only one way to be, and that's rooted as the craziness swirls around you. Go to Instagram, X, TikTok. Just please subscribe, like, and share, because we got to take down the archons together. Thank you again to Nick, and as always.
Hell yeah. Definitely go check out that show with him and Jen. Besides, not even from them, I've actually heard from a lot of people that shit is fire. I'm a little jealous. So for real, I've heard a lot of good stuff about you guys teaming up. So definitely go check out that show. Ethan, please, my man, let everybody know what's up.
William, thank you so much for presenting all that great material and research you did, and great to be here with you guys too. And Ethan Indigo Smith on all the social media. I got a few books out there. The Complete Patriot's Guide to Oligarchical Collectivism is sort of related to the subject at hand. And I always appreciate many articles to come, and always appreciate being on here with you guys. So thanks, everybody.
Love having you on, Ethan. Always glad when you can make it, my man. And William, please let everybody know what's up with you when they can find all your amazing research and stuff, please.
Well, they can find all of our old shows, Nick. We've done at least 10 or 15 on a wide variety of subjects. They can find them at William Ramsey Investigates or Occult Rejects, and top 0.5% podcast in the world. William Ramsey Investigates, 5 books, and all my stuff is on Patreon. But thanks for having me again. It's great to talk with you.
Hell yeah. I was going to fix you before, but I was like, maybe I'm wrong, because you said 5%, and I was like, no, you're in the top 5%.
Top 0.5.
0.5, yes, 0.5. Because I was like, I'm in the top 1%. There's no way I beat your show. I was like, he had to have fucked that up. Yeah.
Oh, maybe I misspoke.
Yeah, 0.5%.
It would be the first point.
That's impressive.
That's huge, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah. Good for you, man. But yeah, go check out his shit. If you've never heard of him before, go check it out. Definitely did a lot of work together. Go check out that stuff as well. I'm sure it's on both of our channels, so you can go find the Occult Rejects on his as well. But thank you again, William. We'll definitely get you on again at some point, maybe to talk about this or something else. And thank you, everybody in the chat. That is what's up. And until the next one, everybody be well.